Good evening, and welcome to the Heikadelic Show. We would like to take this moment to let you know that viewer and listener discretion is strongly advised. So sit back, have yourself a nice cool drink or hot drink, and enjoy the show. And welcome once again to the Heikadelic Show.
Hey guys!
Oh, hey,
Heiko.
we lost Heiko. Where did he go?
The invisible man.
It's Halloween already.
It's got his disappearing act going.
Heiko!
Is anybody there? Heiko, are you there? Can you hear us?
So how's it going, guys?
It's good.
Good.
I'm really excited, honestly. Darren Frost is our guest tonight, and he's just incredible. I, can't rave about him enough. But yeah, so tonight, viewer discretion, listening discretion, strongly advised. I don't think anything visual will be too bad, but of course, if you're just reading lips out there, then yeah, viewer discretion is advised as well.
Hi, guys.
Amazing. Hey, Hike, do you have less hair this week?
Do I have what?
Do you have less hair this week?
No, I just got out of the hot tub, so I just combed it straight back, and it's kind of like stuck there.
He's trying to steal my look.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah, there you
Beauty.
go.
Woo!
Got my hair.
Yeah, it does
short
look
and
like I
back.
kind of like cut it off. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Well, I can mess it up for you if you want, so it's all over the place.
No, you look pretty respectable like that. I'd leave it.
Holy
At least for
shit!
a little while.
I should have wore a tie.
Yeah. At least.
So how you boys doing, man?
Good.
He looks like a Miami drug dealer. I'm not going to lie.
No, he doesn't have the silk jacket.
Well, it's too hot out. I can't wear that.
I don't know
yet.
what kind of drugs you were buying in Miami.
Oh my God.
I'll get it later.
So hey, whoa, look at that. You guys are drinking already. George hasn't even played it yet.
I know. I can't wait.
Even the computers.
Oh, cheers, Bradley. Well, cheers.
Bradley's on.
Sure, you can't laugh. Don't worry, Hike. We can always laugh at you.
Yeah, and you know what? We got the perfect. We have the perfect guest tonight for that tonight too, don't we?
Yeah. So, Mr. Darren Frost.
Oh,
Yeah.
we booked him a while ago, right? Months ago, and yeah, it's finally it's happening.
Bradley, you could drink tea. You could have weed tea. You could have mushroom tea. You could have green pico instead of orange pico because green pico is way better. But yeah, man, you can drink whatever. Cheers, whatever.
Let us know how things are in New Jersey tonight, Brad.
Oh, is that where Brad's from?
Yeah, it's New Jersey.
Jersey.
Kilkenny tonight.
Hanging out at the shore.
I love New Jersey.
Oh, little red rose.
Oh, good. They go down too easy, don't it? It's just crazy.
Okay, Brad, have you ever met
Pauly Shore?
Situation?
Oh, the situation. Mike, the situation. Pauly D.
My name is Mike, the situation.
Wow.
Yeah, he's definitely not that kind of tone.
Come on, everybody like Jenny.
Yeah, brings back memories, right?
Well, it's Jersey Shore. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
Jersey Shore.
Good evening, Keisha. Nice to have you on.
T-shirt. Cheers to you.
So, Hike, how was your week?
Oh,
My
red
week?
rose tea.
My week kind of blew by. It's like, holy crap. It's like Monday again. We're back on the show again. It's like, it just, I don't know where it went, but the week was good. Got out to see some people. Finally, I'm getting out about a little bit, right, and having a couple of drinks here and there. So, yeah.
Well, so how does that work? Do they give you a pass at the home, or you have
to... you have to be really good. You got to behave. You got to be polite, and then they give you a pat on the back.
You talk to the janitor while he's smoking. He lets you out the back. Well, wait a second. Wait 1 second, guys. Junior, chilling with my younger girlfriend watching. What, you got an older girlfriend too? How many girlfriends you got, Junior?
Holy crap!
Did I just get him in trouble?
Wow, busy man.
Well, at least it's not my younger girlfriend.
I hear your younger girlfriend's son is the same age as my son, so we'll probably have to get them together sometime when we're up there.
Yeah, you're talking about Junior.
Junior, yeah.
Wow.
I was thinking of Junior.
Girlfriend is that young?
Junior back on soon, because that definitely a hoot, right?
Yeah.
Good to have some experience on.
I've got something to show Junior here, because every time he comes on, he has like some things hanging on the wall behind him, and one of them is this Rush album, right?
Rockstar.
Yeah.
And I have a mini.
Oh,
look at that.
3-inch.
Yeah.
Let me.
I think I have a 3-inch video recorder.
Oh.
How come I can't blow you up?
Was that like a 3-inch mini disc?
No, it's actually bubblegum. It was from the late 70s, 80s. It's actually, they're called hip hops, and it's actually got a bubblegum in it, and it's like an album. We've got a whole bunch of them. Like, oh, you'd like this one, Johnny. Look at this that I found in my archives.
Oh, yeah. Walking the Razor's Edge.
Look at that, eh?
Wait, no, sorry, that's Judas Priest, right?
Yeah, Judas Priest, yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's not Walking the Razor's Edge. That's that would be Helix, but yeah, it's Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right on.
British Steel, it says on there. British Steel.
British
So
Steel.
you still got the gum inside there, or did you have the gum already?
No, it's 1978 or something like that, 79.
Yeah, he's going to have the munchies, I'm sure, back then.
So I'd say that the gum would be pretty shitty by now.
I think so. We've like cracked me fillings.
Brad says you look like Ric Flair.
ABBA. Even ABBA.
Oh.
Are these all
little Swedish band?
Blondie,
yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Deborah Harry, she still looks good.
Code used to say that he endured a addictomy, and I, of course, donated 3 inches, right? So, yeah, that was running good. But you got a bunch of 3 inchers over there. So, what do they like? What do they do? Are they records or discs?
These?
Yes.
No, it's bubblegum. It's bubblegum. You got the lyrics of a song at the back, like "Living After Midnight," Judas Priest on the back, and they're called hip hops.
Midnight. Well, sorry.
Yeah.
Nice.
Talking of like records and things like that, do you know what the Queen's favorite disc was?
The Queen's.
The Queen, yeah, Her Majesty the Queen, yeah, Elizabeth II.
British Steel.
No, Magic Moments on Philips 12-inch. It was. Yeah.
Really?
Great album. It's a great album.
What was it? Magic Moments on Philips 12-inch?
Yeah. There's a record label called Philips.
Wow. You know what? I'm quick with that stuff, George. I don't know if everybody else got it, but yeah, on Philips 12-inch. Okay.
Yeah, 12-inch records. Yeah, it's called Magic Moments on Philips 12-inch.
Magic
Moments on his 12-inch.
True. You ask her next time you see it. It's her favorite album. What favorite song?
Yeah, I'm gonna go see her next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a little too close to home, I would think.
I'm just getting in. It's usually you guys that do that, so I'll get in first this week. I'd be the first one to lower the tone.
Oh boy! I think
I feel.
Hey, I gotta make a shout out to somebody.
Okay.
All right.
Shout out to Antonio. Keisha.
Hey, Antonio.
Tell us who Antonio is. First time listener.
Antonio Banderos.
Almost.
Okay.
Listening with Antonio.
See?
Wow.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Is Antonio your special friend?
Do you know about this, Heiko? Is this news to you as well?
No, I've known for a little while.
Okay,
that's okay. We can relax now. Then.
Wait, hold the phone here. Did I not say, when was it, a year ago? Yeah, so there's been a change, right?
There has been a change.
Okay, so I was right.
Yes, you were absolutely correct. Because I hope she made change for the better.
Well, that's good. But was I right? Was I not right?
Yes, you were right. Absolutely.
Like, didn't we have a psychic on or something? And
yeah, we did.
He asked a question. Somebody asked about relationships, and I'm like,
yeah, and the psychic pretty much said, right? So,
yeah, I remember that show.
Yeah, she's gone and done that now, and well, looking forward to meeting him someday.
Yeah, Antonio Banderos.
And you better be good to my daughter.
Ooh.
So Antonio, is he Greek or is he Italian?
He's Italian.
Yeah, he's Italian. Yeah.
So Junior's like, remember her age. Laugh out loud. So tell us about your girlfriend, Junior.
Huh? Oh,
you're gonna have to like type real quickly, or we'll have to bring you in for a few. I could do that actually.
So speaking of quickly, I think George needs to quickly show us his backside.
Yes.
Oh yes. Hey? Look at the time. We can do backsides.
Come on, we got to get her in there.
I'm still.
Speaking of backsides, mine's killing.
Oh, what have you been doing?
I see you have that extra pillow behind your back.
Yeah, kayaking's great.
The rubber ring, right?
Oh, there we go. Look at that. So, any of you fans out there that are watching, send us in an email or send us a message on Facebook if you know what album this is.
Oh, who recorded it? Who's the main
Who
artist?
recorded this album? See, and he's got things kind of marked out with green tape because
that's the guy you're.
And up here it says his name. In this bit.
Other side. There,
Other side. And that's one of his famous lyrics. So I was busy with the old masking tape this week.
I think I have a clue who it is.
You're cheeky monkey. Well, you know what
it is. This is somebody like it's this guy in this band, right?
Yeah, and he plays guitar, obviously.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, no. I just wanted to make sure it's not like Jeff's band, but it's like this guy and a band, right? Like, and the band will have a name.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give like an example, like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's not who I'm thinking of, but if it is, I think I know who it is. I think I got it.
All right.
So everyone that's on, just so you, if you didn't catch the news, we've got Darren Frost on tonight, an amazing comedian. Definitely not a family show, but you know, we never are. But Darren is an amazing talent. I've been to several of the shows. Bought like his DVDs and everything because we just couldn't get enough. But we are so excited to have him on here tonight, and I'm not sure where all that's going to go. But if he brings us into the act, oh my god! Yeah, you can catch his stuff. We've got it streaming at the bottom. DarrenFrost.com. He's got some really cool videos, and he's an actor as well as a comedian, and he does bar mitzvahs as well.
He's got a box set.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
On this, So have a look at that. That'd be something great for you guys to pick up.
Well, you know what? One of his shows, he used to do shows at Yuck Yucks. He's done.
That's where I've seen him.
For Godfrey at like the downtown at
come on, spit it out.
I can't do it. Must try.
Anyways, he's a great guy. So if you guys are have got soft ears and you can't handle it, you got to tune out. That's it.
See, somebody left already.
I know. They can't take it. I can't take it. You know what that's like in a comedy show? When someone tunes out, it's like someone's getting up and going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Well, no, okay. Yeah, it happens though. Like you can't, you know, who are you to actually think, you know, you can't leave while I'm talking, right? I'm sorry, man. My bladder tells me I have to. I used to be able to hold it. I can't as well anymore.
Okay, the singer for Megadeth.
Yeah, Dave Mustaine.
Yes, I don't like to say his name, but
I do because I like him.
Do you?
Rock Dave. Oh yeah, I like him. Anyway,
Yeah. So I was at a show. I was at Heavy Montreal actually, and they were like direct support for a very
Metallica.
no, actually it was Avenged Sevenfold, and
okay, yeah.
so they had the second stage ready for Avenged, and of course everybody wants their spot early, right? So a lot of people left the fenced-in gate in front of the Megadeth stage to get their spot before Avenged, like halfway through their show. And he grilled everybody. He's like, you're just gonna whatever. I mean, you're gonna hear all of our songs and blah blah blah, whatever the hell he was saying. But he was really seemed to be upset because Avenged was, two different bands in two different genres. And
well, that's exactly it. You got that's a big crossover there for a way a lot of people look at it. Like Avenged Sevenfold is more like a I don't want to say math metal, but I'm not saying that they are just for that, but they're more like Play to a Click, where Megadeth's more.
Oh no! Hold it.
Oh no, they're not.
Hold it.
No, I've seen Megadeth. I saw Megadeth with Motorhead and who's that band you like, Heiko? We used
Volbeat?
Volbeat. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
My brain's mush. But they played out in Kingston, and I could swear, like, they definitely had some background stuff that wasn't part of the show. So but anyway, regardless of that, they it's like listening to a stereo. I mean, they're great live. That's cool, but I don't know. I just think there's an arrogance there that's not cool about. If you're going to be direct support for a band, then you gotta, respect the headliner at least, right? And I just thought it was not cool. And
I heard that
people have to listen to the rest of the show. It's like, yeah, okay, it's gonna happen. So
yeah.
And then
well, like I remember years ago, before like the internet and stuff, there was this little band that was opening up direct support for Aerosmith. And the show that I saw them with was, I believe it was Warrant, Black Crowes, Metallica, and Aerosmith.
Wow.
Went there when the Black Crowes were playing. Nobody paid attention to them. And then Metallica came on.
Yeah.
The place was packed.
Yeah.
Aerosmith came on. Everybody turned their backs and left.
Yeah.
Right? Like literally half the show.
Wow.
They were just there for Metallica.
Yeah.
And like literally anybody else was on, they'd have their backs with their Metallica patches on, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's just, well, whatever. I mean, that's
a bad example too, because I've seen Aerosmith where they're the headliner, and they had Van Halen and Rose Tattoo. It was a triple show.
Yeah.
And after Van Halen went off, they came on, and people actually started booing. They sounded that bad.
Yeah, well, but imagine trying following Van Halen, right?
Well, then they
the best guitarist in the
then they
world.
should switch those two around because.
But that's Aerosmith was the big band at the time, and you're bringing up the new band, right?
Yeah. But they sounded really bad. Their music wasn't mixed properly. It was all distorted, too loud. Like it was just. No.
Probably a little bit of drugs and alcohol, and Yeah.
Well, same thing. They probably, like you said, you got to outdo Van Halen, so they turned everything up to 11, and it didn't work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I went to a show just before COVID, so probably 3 years ago or whatever, and it was Slipknot was headlining, right? I love Slipknot. And Volbeat was direct support for them, and I love Volbeat, but it's like this doesn't make any sense, right?
No.
But you're bringing in two crowds. I think like promotions well done should be the opening bands are somehow leading up and complementing.
Yeah. Well, the last time I saw Volbeat was in Ottawa, and for the life of me, I can't remember the band they were touring with right now, but they would switch it up the headliner. You didn't know who was the headliner and who wasn't.
Yeah. Oh well.
They had a third band that played first, but then you didn't know who was on next. They took turns switching it up.
Yeah. So I've been out to Warped Tour a lot, and that was a pretty popular tour, and it was more like a festival thing. So they would come to the Budweiser Stadium, and basically, so you get a bunch of bands playing, sometimes up to 20 bands. But when they were doing Warped Tour, and I got to hang out with a few bands during that, but they got into doing that where they would draw straws to see who actually opens the show. So when you would get a headlining act kind of being middle of the bill. But it was great because it gave a lot of up and coming bands opportunities, like, just some incredible bands. And I think that's cool. We did that for a couple of shows, like with MCM and that, but we're not but it's it's fun. I think the bigger bills though, where you're paying a lot of money, like a festival's cool, you can pull that stuff off, but when you're paying tickets to see a headliner, you're not going to see them open the show. And there are reasons for that too. I mean, Derek knows this. You just kind of gave an example with the Metallica thing, but if the opening acts draw a lot more crowds and ticket sales than the headlining act, all of a sudden you'll get, the front end bands playing. By the time you get to the headliner, they're gone.
Yeah, people are gone. Yeah,
and well, that happens a lot too. Like where we're playing. If you're at a bar until 2:00 and you get it on at 1, you say the music starts at 8 or 9 or doors open at 8 or 9, you don't want to really play last because you're going to miss a lot of people. Yeah. If you play right in the middle, you're getting the people who come for the first bands and the people who come for the last band, right?
That's what I get left with at the end of the night.
Well, yeah.
That's where I come in.
It's funny.
I used to, I should say. But anyway,
you really have to get over the. I suppose it's nice to be a direct support band. It kind of makes you feel like, hey, I'm a little bit, more popular, better, whatever. Because you're opening up for sometimes a pretty famous band, so that's always good to be there. But if you can get over that, it is cool to be the first band because you can get your gear kind of put away after your set and go and enjoy the show, right?
Yeah.
So,
but it is also nice sometimes to sit there and wait till the end, right? And then see people still there. That's what it. That's when you go, oh my god, this is great! Like people are actually here.
Well, we did a tour with Anvil, and we played in Kingston, and there was a band, Revmatic, so they wanted to be, they were just had to be the direct support, right? And so we said, yeah, sure, man, just you guys we'll open the show, right? But we were I think we did 3 or 4 dates with Anvil. But it's fine. It's totally fine. But that was their hometown. Why not, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
is that where they're from? Kingston.
Revmatic, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Are we on Indie Rock Radio tonight? Are we back up there?
Not yet. No.
Okay. All right.
Damn, what's going on?
Just some beats. I tried to get
technical crap. Oh my god.
Yeah. Well,
if any of the Montreal fans are listening, we're hoping to get everything going again.
Catch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. We're still here.
Yep.
You can see us. Seeing is believing.
Yeah.
But I think it's partly.
I got a face for a mask.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see what Keisha just put up? She said the window beside Derek is freaking her out.
Yeah, you should see what freaks me out sometimes too, because like stuff like comes out of it, like like faces and stuff. It freaks me out.
I can see one there right now.
Gotta love it. Yeah, I've been looking at that too. I've been checking out all these places all over Ontario that are abandoned,
Okay.
And some of these places look so freaking creepy. I think it would be amazing to do a show live from something like that.
Yeah.
I years ago, I decided to make a little change in my life and quit drinking, and that was one of the hobbies I took up, was exploring abandoned places, and it was great. It was great until about 10, well, not even 10 years ago now. I'm going to say the last 8 years, 7 years. It became very popular, and a lot of the houses get trashed.
Really?
Yeah, because
that's sad.
It is. Like I
well,
know
you
there
get
was
stupid people go, right? That's the problem.
Like well, in Oshawa there, when at Winfield Farms, is that what it was there? Where Northern Dancer, right? Northern Dancer, Canada's most famous horse. So
that's right.
That's where he's still buried. I got pictures of it. But you know, there was a couple of big mansions in the area. Like I lived in Brooklyn, so they're all torn down now. But I was working in construction at the time, so I was like, hey, what are you guys doing here? Because they're building the 407, right?
Yeah.
And there was a few mansions that I went in, and I had free realm of them. Like they're like, yeah, man, nobody's in them anymore. Go ahead. So it was kind of neat.
Yeah, I remember seeing all the buildings up in that area empty.
Yeah,
because we knew the highway was coming through.
Yeah.
But see, it's something that would be nice to go and enjoy, something to check out. You know, get a little spook going on, or that kind of stuff. But then there's always these. I don't even want to use that word, but they're just assholes. They got to go in there and wreck shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with your head? Like, you know what I mean?
You want to know something? I have to admit, when I was younger, like when I was, that testosterone filled 16 to 25-year-old guy, I had destroyed a house or two. I'm not going to tell you where, but it happened. So I can understand it, because you're young, you're hanging out with the boys, and you want to get all your aggression out and show how tough you are.
Yeah, well, let's see how tough you are. You don't have to go trash somebody's property. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand now. Like I said, now I'm a homeowner, and I get it. You know what I mean? I understand not doing it, but this is also before your brain's fully developed, and
well, and that's why I say all this is just showing where your IQ level is at, and it's probably a single digit. So there you go.
It is.
Hey, you're saying I got a single digit IQ? No. Thanks, Mike. I can count to 4. I play drums. Thanks, buddy.
Well, you're getting better as you go, right?
Yeah. 1 and 2 and 3
seriously,
and 4.
Though, we've said this before. It's a fact, a proven fact, that the human brain doesn't fully develop until you're 25, right?
Yep.
Wow.
And that explains the dumbass effect between, some
15 and 25.
Yeah.
When you're most affected by music, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that explains a few things for me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, the music you listen to between 15 and 25 is the music you will listen to for the rest of your life, and then you'll say all other music is crap.
Yeah.
Right. So you gotta get over that. I still find it hard.
But see, our music is still alive and kicking everywhere.
Well, that's what our parents used to say, though. Today's music is crap. My mum and dad used to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they did.
My parents really go, music today's crap. So it's just a thing.
But it's funny. A lot of stuff that they listen to is still around as well. Yeah, I'm just saying, like
that's part of the problem with music now.
Last 20 years is not like that.
Well, now you have all the music that in the world at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Anything you want. So that's the biggest change in the world in itself.
Well, one of the things I found when I've been working doing gigs, like before everything shut down, obviously, but is I was amazed at some of the requests I got from people that are far too young to know the songs. And like what's happened is, on soundtracks, because so many of these soundtracks from movies these days, right, utilize these songs from like the 70s. So the kids are actually aware of the music through the movies, and then they come out and they request them, which is kind of when it first started happening, I was like, that's kind of weird, But it's just great, really. I mean, they'll find that way to that music somehow.
Some kids too listen to their parents' music, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Read
All
my
right.
Yeah. Ringo's leaning forward.
Yes, he's doing one of these.
leaning forward, it means survey says zip it.
Are you going to introduce our guest?
I am. If you would
Awesome.
close your
Okay. All right. I'll shut up now.
Okay.
Are you going to talk now? Are you going to do it now?
Yes.
Like right now?
Right
Okay,
now.
I'll shut up. Okay.
Okay. So without further ado, we have Mr. Darren Frost with us, and can't say enough things about this guy. I mean, amazing comedian. He does acting, he does a variety of things, but I had the pleasure of being at a few of his shows. I would love to sit in the front row sometimes, but that day will come, I'm sure. But at the end of, I think the first show we went to, he was selling DVDs and stuff, and we just bought them all because it was just an amazing.
I did the same. Yep.
And laughed like hell over and over again. So here he is, Mr. Darren Frost.
I am here.
All right, buddy.
And I can already jump into your conversation with a few points.
All right.
Nice.
I came prepared.
Nice.
Oh, you came prepared. Uh-oh.
I did, yeah.
I usually come in like a sock or something.
Jeez.
I just wanted to mention to the guys, we are all front row seats right now. He's right there. Look, he's right there.
That's right.
Here's your opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a thing called generational relativity, and what that means is you think every generation born after you is not as smart as you are. So your grandparents think that grandchildren are dumber than you, and their children will be dumber than you, and it's kind of built into the system. That's an actual thing.
Yeah. No,
I don't know if it's true or not. I can understand it being 50 and looking at young people, but there's that idea that because I'm 50, I think it must be the way it is.
Well, I have to say, my experience of this unique is I'm George the DJ.
Yeah.
Adam, my eldest son, is Adam the PhD. So I don't know. I think he's smarter than me.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the same way. My 9-year-old, sometimes he puts me in my place.
Is that kind of like when I used to go into the copy room and I'd copy my ass on the photocopier and then make copies for my buds, and then
last week,
and it would eventually just be clear to me, right? Because A, my ass is flat, and B, it just didn't show up very well. The first print.
No.
So.
Johnny's backside every week.
That's why we look at yours, George. It's like you can't look at mine. From behind, I got 2 legs that go right up to a hole.
Geez, guys, right here we go, right in the toilet again.
Already.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Darren, I hear you have.
Go ahead.
I hear you have a box set out now. I know things have been kind of shitty with COVID and stuff like that, but you've got something nice happening that we can get into.
Yeah, so if you know who I am, that's great. If you don't, a little backstory to me is that I'm a kind of a DIY guy. I do everything myself. So I've actually released anywhere from, if you count, some bootlegs that I've done, 8 comedy specials. Now, as a Canadian, that's the most anyone's pretty much ever put out. But I do it all myself. 5 of them are actual DVD specials. 3 of them are audio, like albums or whatever CDs you want to call them. So on my box set, not only do you get all 8 of that, and each of my DVDs were 3 hours long, like bonus features of me getting attacked and yelled at and heckled and, me putting people in their place. So all that extras on there as well. Plus I used to have a show on XM radio that ran for 3 years. So some of this, crazier episodes from that is on there. So really in terms of content, it's well over 40 hours of content, and I send it on a USB stick, and you get everything that I ever did. Far too much of Darren Frost for any one person.
Well, I saw you live Yuck Yucks in Ajax a while back, and I'm telling you, the time I sat there, you're very entertaining. I loved it. It was great.
A lot of crazy things have happened at that club. It's no longer there anymore, but a lot of crazy stories happen at that club.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear a crazy story. Let's hear an Ajax crazy story, because most of we're all in Durham, and Ajax is, part of it.
In Ajax. Yeah.
The one thing that happened in Ajax with my career is, so about 2 days after the Winnipeg bus beheading, I went on stage and I had jokes about the Winnipeg bus beheading, because there was a period in my career where I would just go after any topic, regardless if people would get offended or not, because that was kind of what my show was. It still is, but I kind of point the gun more inward than outward now. But anyways, back then I had material on it, and someone in the front row got really, really upset that I was doing jokes about this event, which of course has been plastered all over the news and all kinds of different scenarios and talking about all the craziness and graphic detail. And all I did was a couple jokes about it. And this guy got up and ran to the back of the club and was furious and smacked his girlfriend in front of some staff, like open-handed slapped her, and then started yelling at me from stage, just saying, like, what if it was your mother or your brother? What if it was your mother or your brother? And, you know, my attitude was like, you know what? If your mother was beheaded on a bus and 48 hours later you're at a comedy club, you fucking deserve to hear jokes about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I get it. You there's certain things you may not find funny. Wait for the next comic or the next joke. You know, there's comedy and everything. Some people don't think you can make fun of 9/11. I think you can. If you don't like it, don't come to my show. There's certain topics that people don't want to hear. This is the beauty of the internet. Search me out, watch a clip. You don't like it, fuck off and see someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's exactly the attitude. I've been in a club before too, where someone got all freaked out and yelled at the comedian.
Yeah.
And it was like, buddy, you're in a comedy club. Right. If you can't take it or listen to things, don't go to a comedy club. Stay home and you know, watch a soap opera or something.
And what's worse is, like, so okay, look, if a comic's bombing, that's one thing. But what generally happens with me is 80 to 90% of the crowd is on board, but 10% isn't. And that's not my problem. If I was in baseball and I was batting 800, I wouldn't be here right now. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be in a closet in Barrie where dreams go to die. I'd be somewhere else. But, you know, it's that 10% who get pissed off that the other 80 or 90% are enjoying something. It's like, if you compare it to music, look, there's bands I don't like. I'm not going to buy a ticket, go sit in the front row, hate the whole show, and then go write a Yelp review. I'm just not going to go.
No.
Right.
And I'm not going to make fun of the people that do go there and enjoy that. It's not my bag. That's your bag. Fine. But don't come at me and then attack the people that are enjoying this form of entertainment. It's just not for you. You know, the problem with stand-up and sometimes music is sometimes people don't do the research. When it comes to movies, we all do the research. Nobody walks into a Quentin Tarantino movie thinking they're seeing 101 Dalmatians.
I did once, but that was the mushrooms.
Sure. you wanted to see a lot of dead dogs. I get it. But in comedy, they go, oh, I like Seinfeld. I'm going to go check this out. Now, in the last 5 or 10 years with the internet, it's helped where people can search people out, but they still don't.
No.
Yeah.
All the access at your fingers, and you still say, well, who is it?
I mean, Russell Peters is the same as Jim Jeffries.
Who?
And Jim Jeffries is the same as, you know, this guy and this. It's all the same. It's comedy, right? No, it's not. If you think Iron Maiden is the same as Lady Gaga, we're not in the same business. We're not on the same planet.
Well, fun fact, Darren, Heiko one night said, we were talking about Iron Maiden, and he said, are they a bar band?
Right.
But they started off probably as a bar band.
Yes,
but
they did.
You know what? I like
That
where you're
just
going.
gives away his age.
I love where you're going with this because, you know, we've had some comedians on in the past, and you know, it's not about you know, having you guys on and doing an act, although that's kind of cool. It's about, you know, you're talking about the real deal with comedians. And I remember it was either when I saw you one time on stage, I've seen you a couple of times, but I bought like all of your DVDs at the time.
Right.
And I can't remember if it was on there, some other material you had, but you talked about somebody whipping a beer bottle at you.
Yeah, that's unfortunately my most famous clip on internet. 30 years of playing Bumfuck Town after Bumfuck Town, and my biggest clip is a guy throwing a glass at me in London, Ontario.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that was London. Okay.
London, yeah. Yeah, it's got over like a couple million views. It's been stolen and posted elsewhere. It's just like it's my biggest clip, and people think it's cool. I get it, but in reality, if not to get too serious about it, I should never have posted the clip because it's been a noose around my neck when it comes to people wanting to book me, and now they're like, oh, I don't know if I was American, that would have took me over the top.
Right,
that would have been huge. Would have been huge. But here's the problem in Canada, and it's the same in any form of entertainment, just not stand-up. Canadians run from controversy. Americans embrace it.
Right.
Any controversy in this country actually holds me down. Whereas in America, I could go on a different place because there's so many options. Here, you have very few options for press. And if they don't want to cover it or talk about it because it's too controversial, you're dead in the water. So that's one of the problems with that clip. It's like people still remember me. I'm the guy who got the glass whipped at them, and it doesn't matter if that was 15, 20 years ago, and I've released 8 specials since. It's just the way it is.
You're the glass guy. Yeah. Now, did you pause that long for dramatic effect, or were you just trying not to fucking kill someone? Like I know, like I've been on stage before, not doing comedy, but and stuff happens. I've had introduced people to off the stage.
Sure.
But yeah, man, were you ready to flip out then, or what? Like I know I would have snapped.
So I always like to, relate it to music, and I know you guys are big music guys, and I think you'll appreciate it. There's a clip that went out about Nickelback. I get it. People want to hate Nickelback, whatever, right?
Portugal.
Yeah. And so in Portugal at a fest, they were playing in a fest they should never been probably playing in. They had to follow Slipknot, and they got pelted with rocks. And so many people were like, yeah. And I was the exact opposite. I was like, you don't understand what it's like to be a performer on stage with a house full of lights on you. You can't see nothing. And something comes from the darkness and hits you square in the chest or the head in his case. And it doesn't matter if it hurts or not. It's a scary moment. And it's a realization that shit can go down that you have no control over. And everyone's drunk in the audience. These aren't sober people making this decision most times. And if they are, it's even worse. But they're intoxicated fuckheads who want to take the law into their own hands. And here's the other thing when it comes to bands, what I love. Because I'm friends with a lot of bands and I've hung out with a lot of bands, especially festivals. Audience members think if you pelt a band off, the other band's going to come on earlier. That's not how it works. You're going to sit and stare at an empty stage for 40 minutes. And I guarantee you the next band ain't going to be cool with what just happened. And the next band isn't going to be cool with it. And it's going to go around. And then, there's going to be this era of it ain't cool. And bands will cut their set short. There'll be no encores. I saw the Tragically Hip once. They did a festival and Daniel Lanois in Barrie, Ontario got bottled off. Now, that festival was another roadside attraction. Every band was personally invited by the Hip, and the Hip were pissed. And they came on stage, and they did no encore. I've seen the Hip multiple times. They always do encore. They always play long. Not this fucking time, because if you're going to pelt off, because I've had openers, and I've had it in Kingston, Ontario. A guy jumped on stage on opener. This is how they met their headliner. I had to jump on stage. I said, you get the fuck off the stage right now. You motherfucker, this is my show. That's my friend. You do this again, the show's over. So he gets off stage. The opener finishes his set, brings me on. And the first 5 minutes, I have to read the audience the riot act. I'm like, I invited this guy to open for me. This is a friend. Don't disrespect someone on my stage. And so, I had to do all this and then try to be, I'm the funny guy again. Luckily, I have enough, cunt material to act like that and then pull it off. But a lot of people don't. And so I'm lucky in that regard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and you know what? It's part of the do-it-yourself kind of, you do your own production and build out your career and everything. But yeah, sometimes, and it's like being in a band, depending on where you're playing, you got to be your own security guy because either they don't have it well staffed. Like I've been one of your shows was very packed. And there was a great lineup and everything. And then when you got on, it was awesome. But yeah, I mean, you're going to get people, you're going to get people sitting in the front row and, hey, it's to be expected. If you get picked on, you get picked on. If you become the fucky, which I thought was brilliant. But But then you get these ones that it's like, what are you even doing here, right?
Right.
Because you get offended, or something comes up that strikes a chord, and it's like, whoa, you know.
You're at a comedy club. That's it.
Well,
Come on.
Myself, I think comedy is great for that, and you described it so well with the, everyone is different. It's like, well, as you say, like music, it's all different types of music, different types of comedy. How do you describe your type of comedy?
It's been described many different ways, like not for the faint of heart, edgy, X-rated. I mean, the only reason I use the term X-rated in my comedy is because at least it makes people stop for a second and go, whoa, this might not be normal. I'm not showing my cock. I'm not getting naked, but there's no way to differentiate myself from other comedy unless I use certain terms that people will kind of stop. And that's one of them. I'm a button pusher. I admit it. I'm not for everyone. I'm a fringe comic. I never expected to be anything but that. But at the end of the day, you have to have the wherewithal to get up and do the next show. And I'm doing jokes for myself, and I hope the crowd can relate to it, because that's the only way you can last. I'm 30 years in. I'm not doing the jokes always for the front of the house. There's got to be more to it for me now. And that might not be the best answer, but unfortunately, that's the answer that's got me to 30 years. And I think I've done pretty good. I've never, ever said that I'm a great comic. I think I'm a good comic that's got a great work ethic. And sometimes work ethic has to mean something. And I mean that in all forms of entertainment. Most people think I only like edgy comedy. I like edgy comedy, but I like all kinds of comedy. I like prop acts. I like magicians. I like things that I can't do. It's like, do you think, Judas Priest only listens to death metal all day long? They could love the Beatles and the Indigo Girls, because that's what it's about. It's not always about one thing. And so, my show is that.
So, Darren, what attracted you? What drew you to the career way back 30 odd years ago? What was the thing that went, right, I'm going to do that?
So when I was young, I was probably like 10 or 12. I saw a lot of stand-up comedy at that time, and that's what I wanted to do. I made a very conscious decision at a young age to want to be a stand-up comedian. I bought my first album or cassette I ever bought was I bought 3 of them: Woody Allen, Sam Kinison, and Emo Phillips in Florida on a trip. Okay. And I think that's a good mixed bag of comedy if you know who they are. And I made a deal with my parents. I went to business school. I got a degree to fall back on. So therefore, I have a degree in marketing, which kind of helps me doing it myself. And I just, I had a day job, and that paid the rent. And then I kept doing shows and more shows until that took over money-wise from the day job. Of course, not equal, but enough to live on. And then it just kind of steamrolled. And I worked hard for a good 25 years. I worked day and night and really, really worked hard. And you have to put out the amount of material that I've done. And the number of shows that I did. Because, I had records. At one time, I had the most shows in 1 week in Toronto. I did 25 shows in 1 week. There's all kinds of different things that I did to keep it, kind of fresh and new for me. But I always wanted to do it. And that's the thing. If I quit tomorrow, I can say that how many people can say as a kid they wanted to be something and they did it for 30 years?
Yeah.
Very few.
Yeah. Oh, some people still chase the dream, right?
Right.
It's awesome.
Right. George is actually a good example. He's been a DJ for probably 70 years now.
Almost, not quite. First paid gig was 1970. 1970, yeah.
Worked at the
so were those your heroes, Darren? Those 3 guys, or did you have other people, or were those your 3 guys?
In the beginning, they were, and then I kind of like the Sam Kinison angle. I liked it anytime he talked about religion, because I felt it was grounded in reality. I didn't like the misogyny, and I didn't like the anti-gay stuff that he did. And even at age 16, I picked up on some of that. But I also understand he was just trying to make a joke in a certain era that's kind of different than now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because of the kind of comedy I do, most people think I'm very misogynist, sexist, anti-gay, because it comes with the territory. I get compared to Andrew Dice a lot, or some of those kind of comics. And I'm if you ever listen to my comedy, I'm pretty much the exact opposite. I'm not bagging on those guys. That's just not my philosophy and the way I look at the world. I'm more of an underdog in terms of defending them. So that's so my comedy switched to more guys like even local guys like Kenny Robinson and guys like oh man, there's Mike Wilmot. There's lots of big Canadian comics that people need to search out that are dirty, funny, intelligent guys. And then you've got tons of really funny women like Deborah Giovanni, and you got Shannon Laverty and Martha Chavez, and there's so much great talent in this country. And now that we're all stuck inside and have time, you can actually take the time to search these people out and really get to know them and watch their stuff, because almost every comic has an album now. That's the other thing that's really happened with the do-it-yourself. You can just buy a $400 recorder and record your own albums now. So you have hundreds, if not thousands, of comedy albums to listen to.
Well, where would somebody buy, say, your album?
If you go to my website, comedyhorror.com or darrenfrost.com, if you're at work, online, you can send me an email, and we can, I just do old fashioned. I send it through the mail, you get it, then you pay for it. You don't pay for it first. I send it to you. You make sure you get it, then. Yeah.
I got it running right down there.
Right at the bottom of the screen, folks.
I see that. Yeah.
All the info's there.
What's your box set worth right now? Because I don't want to, like, with the DVD collection I've got, that was a while back, right? So I'm definitely interested in.
So I sell it for $40, and that's shipping included. So it's shipping and taxes included. And like I said, it's got all 8 of my specials on there, plus the one bootleg, and it's got other bootleg stuff. A full-length documentary that I was involved with. There's tons and tons. And, unfortunately or fortunately, a lot of my fans like to see me bomb. So there's actually a lot of footage on there of me sucking hard. Really hard, because, I get it. You want to see a comic do well. You want to laugh. But there's also this idea of, like, I want to see a comic squirm sometimes too. Yeah. And I get it. So I put warts and all. Everything's on there.
Yeah. I guess that's like people that go to race meetings to watch the crashes and not the racing.
Of course,
right? I mean, they're there, aren't they? They're every walk of life, really.
Yeah,
these negative people.
Yeah.
Like fights in hockey.
On one of my DVDs, it's a 3-hour DVD. You got an hour special where I'm killing, and the 2 hours, 1 hour of it is me just bombing horribly in front of 30. Is in Mississauga, Ontario. 30 people, and 25 of them had a head wound, like a head injury. So they had mind problems, so they couldn't think clearly. They had a head injury. So you don't realize how many rhetorical questions you have in your act until someone doesn't think logically. So I'd say, like, what's wrong with the world? And a guy yelled, "We have too many apples." And I'm like, okay, we have too many apples, and it's an awkward set, and I get through it. Yeah. And I've had countless people come up to me and go, "Look, Darren, I think you're funny, and I watch your special, but some of that stuff where you're bombing, I like even more than you're killing." And I'm like, okay, that justifies it, I guess.
Maybe you're not. Maybe you're not really bombing. Maybe it's more like the Mitch Hedberg whole his special, where they're just not smart enough to get it yet.
There's that, and then also Dice has an album called "The Day the Laughter Died," which is a very famous comedy album, which he recorded, and he just bombs the whole way through it. And it's because he's playing to a crowd that's not his crowd. And, if I do my X-rated show, like I used to do all kinds of birthday parties. I don't do them anymore. And I'll tell you why. So this guy loved me. It was his 40th birthday party. And his wife messages me and like, "Will you please do his 40?" I said, "I don't know. His whole family's going to be there. And he's a big fan." I'm like, "Look, my comedy's not, we've all told everybody. It's great." I'm like, okay. I go there. I do my act. I bomb. Because guess what? Grandpa and Grandma doesn't like sucking fuck jokes. Aunt Louise gets upset when I talk about 9/11. I mean, these are the problems. It's like, yeah, he loved it, because he wanted maybe his family to feel awkward. But that doesn't make me feel good. Yeah. Watching some, World War II vet hate me, I'm not getting off on that, So I had to stop doing certain kinds of shows because it's not for everyone. And you can warn people until you're blue in the face, until they're like 5 minutes in and they're like, ooh. Like some people would bring their kids. I was in Ottawa once, and a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. And the father's like, they watch South Park. And I'm like, okay. They may watch South Park.
I'm not Kenny.
But here's a joke. And I did one joke. And I normally don't do that. Like, I'm not going to do a joke for you. But I did the joke for the dad. And dad's like, oh. And I go, and that's joke 1. and that's 30 seconds of a 45-minute to an hour set.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think it's appropriate. So I kind of have a rule 18 plus on my shows, and I can't enforce it always, but I really try to enforce it because I just don't think it's appropriate for anyone under that age to hear it.
No.
And you are a parent yourself, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I've got 3 children.
Yeah, so that probably that changes your mind a little bit too, right? I know we were talking before. I was a lot more free with everything before I had children.
Right. Yeah, but I've got to worry about them. You know, they all know how to use YouTube now. And, you know, my 17-year-old just loves watching me clips of bombing and hearing people say terrible things. You know, like that's what he loves. So, I mean, you know, okay.
So how did you get over that with your next gig? You bombed last night. Or is it inspire you to go to the next gig? Or do you think, oh, God, here we go again?
Well, there's a twofold answer to that. Twofold. One, did I bomb or not bomb? Meaning, from my perspective, if I was firing on all cylinders and I was getting all the jokes out how I wanted to get them out, and that crowd didn't like it, I personally don't consider that a bomb. I might be wrong, but that's how I look at it. I've tried my best to advertise what my show is. It's like with a band. They tell you, like Iron Maiden, I always use them as an example. We're not doing the hits. We're doing a new album. We're pushing this new album. We're not doing the hits. And then people go, why are they not doing Run to the Hills?
Yeah.
They were told they're not doing the hits. You can't complain. Same thing. When you walk into my show and it says no refunds, X-rated, and you sit down and I'm firing on all cylinders and I know it worked yesterday and it's going to work tomorrow, that's not a bomb. To me, a bomb is when I'm missing jokes or I'm flustered or I have a sound problem and it's not getting out properly. Then that bugs me. But I've been around it long enough to know that there's always going to be bad shows. If you're going to really hang yourself on each show, you can't last.
Okay.
Those comics, and I don't think any performer lasts if they take the pain from each show forward with them. They have to, you know, get the next show under their belt, do well, and then go, well, maybe that was Brantford, Ontario. Maybe it's not me. Find a different reason. It's bullshitting yourself sometimes, but it works.
Yeah.
So you are from Brantford, eh?
I am from Brantford, yes.
Home of Gretzky?
It is the home of Wayne Gretzky, yes.
Yeah. Home of the what bags?
The tea bags.
Yeah, the tea bag.
Wow.
If I always say if Hamilton is the armpit of Ontario, then Brantford is the Chota.
Nice.
I'm not a fan of Brantford, Ontario. A lot of fucked up shit happened to me when I was a child, and I really don't like that place.
Wow.
But you know, I've made a career out of it, so they put money in the bank.
More power to you.
Yeah, you know, you got to use it or lose it.
So Darren, there's something I've always been meaning to ask you, but it's hard to talk to you after a show. So here's the perfect opportunity. Anyone that's seen your shows knows what I'm going to ask, but for others, you might have to explain this. But I always wanted to know what started Fucky for you in the show.
Okay, so for those that don't know, there's always someone in the front row that I call Fucky, and they're the person that I talk to all the way through the show.
Yeah.
Most times it's a guy that's kind of been laughing at me off the top for 3 or 4 jokes, so I know that he's already kind of into my kind of humor. And 95% of the time, they love the fact that I'm now going to call them Fucky because they get it. 5% of the time, they don't. They're not that smart. They're with their first date or whatever, and they feel their ego's hurt, and it doesn't work, and it's terrible. So that started mainly because I was doing shows, and I was trying to do better material, but they would always laugh at the easy jokes. So I literally wrote like 5 or 6 jokes in a row of the shittiest, dumbest, easiest jokes I possibly could. Okay. Right. And, you know, it was literally like my first girlfriend was half Greek, half Italian. I tried to fuck her in the ass, but it was covered in plastic. I'm not proud of that joke. It's a terrible joke. It's an easy joke. But the point is, I do that and the crowd would go nuts. Yeah. I could do a very well-crafted, intelligent joke. Yeah. They're not going to like it. They're only going to like that. So I would say, oh, you like that? Here's another one. So I do 4 or 5 of these so easy base jokes.
Right.
And then I just started calling the guy in the front row Fucky. And that got a laugh. And so then, the next show I just kind of did it a couple times, and then it almost became almost like a trademark.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really do it as much because the problem is you can start using it like a crutch. And then you can kind of psych yourself out. Like, what if I can't call someone fucky this show? Like some certain shows, the audience is too far away.
Right.
And unless you can see a person, then it starts to affect the rhythm of your show because you're normally used to talking to someone in the front at this exact moment or around this moment. So it can affect that. So I didn't stay tied to it every show, but people would come to shows with the word fucky on, or I was fucky, or they bring me a t-shirt that says fucky and stuff. It was, it was a cute little hook, and I still go back to it every once in a while. Post COVID, I probably will, but that's how it started, and people liked it. There is this sense of I can do 45 minutes of what I think is pretty good crafted jokes, and all they're going to remember is that I put a Y on the end of fuck. How sad is that for a career of 30 years? All I did was add Y. They won't remember anything. They won't remember my World War II jokes or my jokes about the Holocaust or any of that. They'll just remember fucky. That's it.
But
they always say if you remembered, it's better than not remembered.
Right.
So fucky though becomes, to me, watching you, it's almost like these little improv moments, like you guys are having a conversation amongst each other. It's like, hey, fucky, the crowd's not, and it just sort of takes away from the planned element, and that's definitely the stuff I love. And but you seem to be a master at that. And then of course your facial expressions, and I think we were maybe 5 rows back at Yuck Yucks, but man, and they've got a little spotlight anyway, so you're but you're just hilarious, right? But yeah, the improv element, I think that's brilliant what you did with that whole
I mean, most shows I'm sticking to somewhat of a script, only because I'm getting a new special out. So I've got to get the wording, and certain things have to go. It's almost like a puzzle, and I'm figuring out that puzzle. But when I go to fucky, I'm stepping outside of it. I'm doing whatever I want, and then I'm stepping back inside of the rhythm of something else, another chunk. So that's the whole point of it. Yeah, because people do like some interaction. It's live. If you don't do it, there is that sense of, am I just listening to a record? The show's different every time because it's obviously a different person being fucky.
Yes.
But most times, if I'm working on something, so if you see me twice in, like, say, 6 months, I might be working on something. But if you see me twice in 2 years, you're not seeing the same stuff. Even though people are fooled. This is the other thing, and it's the same as probably music. But I've had it where someone has come and seen me, and they go, "I saw you 10 years ago."
Right.
Same stuff. I'm like, dude, I just talked about my youngest child who's only 5.
Right.
For 24 minutes of my 40-minute set. If anything, I might have repeated one line, maybe, as an opening line to set a mood. But the problem is people just see you and they think it's the same. I've already seen it. I've already seen them make the funny faces and all that. And so that says to me, you're not listening to the words. And that's the other thing I can do. Like, I like to jump around and scream, but sometimes I can tell when an audience is just getting off on me jumping around and screaming. They're not listening to me.
Right.
So I'll purposely fuck up a joke. The joke will not make sense, and the audience will still laugh.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you're just laughing at me being a monkey.
Yeah.
If you're just laughing at me being a monkey, I now can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I don't have to stick to script because I'm not going to get a real response. Now I'm just going to try to have fun for me and be as crazy as I can because I'm recording it. I might get something out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sometimes where a lot of my material comes from.
Yeah, it's
like just going off grid.
Yeah, going off reserve a bit. Yeah. I was with a buddy of mine, and we had both been at one of your Yuck Yuck shows, and we were up at Rama. I think it was Rama. We were watching Howie Mandel.
Yes.
He went, picked somebody out of the audience, and we both looked at each other and we said, "This is not fucky."
Right. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, your style. I find your act very actually intelligent, right? And you're working that crowd. You're getting that feel. You're kind of, amping it up wherever you can take the crowd, I suppose. But
yeah, I mean, some of it. Look, I'm not stupid. Some of it's suck and fuck jokes. I know it. And then you try to get a crowd on your side. Okay, I'll start out intelligent. If they're not on my side, I got to switch gears, do a little bit of dirty, get them to like me again, then switch gears into some more intelligent stuff, and comment about society, whatever, and then switch gears back into something else if they're not digging. You just can't just do one thing. Right. And so I try to mix it up. So then, the people that just want to hear dirty will enjoy it and maybe learn something. And, like that's all you can do. I wish I could just do 45 minutes of filth, but it's not me. I'm a degenerate, but there's only so much I can talk about that before it becomes boring for me. It's like, I could never be a band and play Run to the Hills every night, or, You Got Another Thing Coming. If Judas Priest did a tour where they said, we're never doing the hits, I would buy a ticket to every show. Cause I want to hear deep cuts.
Yeah.
I want to hear deep cuts. I want to hear stuff off of Rock-a-Rolla. I don't want to hear Breaking the Law ever again.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of people aren't like you. A lot of people, they just want to hear the hits and they want to hear it sound just like the studio. And yeah. But
that's why I like, I'm not even a huge fan of Iron Maiden's music. They're pretty good, but I love how they handle themselves. Like I said, they'll do a hits tour. We're doing the hits, playing the big stadiums, whatever. Next tour, we're pushing this album. So don't bitch and complain. The ticket sales may not be as high. They always are for them, but they're taking a risk and they're putting it out there. And I honestly think, not to get too music, that's why Iron Maiden has done well live and Judas Priest has fallen off a considerable amount compared to them because they're just playing the same 8 songs every single show.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I've seen Priest. Actually, we're looking at getting him on the show, but
and I love Priest. I mean, they're my favorite band. As you guys were talking, age, I think it's 13 to 18 when you guys were talking like 14 or 16 to 20 or whatever you said.
Yeah.
To me, it's like 13 to 18 because that's a period in your life where you only have music. You probably don't have a job yet. You might just have a part-time job. You don't got a girlfriend or boyfriend yet. You have time for music. Yeah, I don't have as much time now for music. So, of course, I listened to every lyric on a Black Sabbath record, at age 14, and Judas Priest and all these bands, and bought weird, like, French metal albums because, that's all I had time for.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Kathy's got a question.
Sure.
Do you find that casino crowds pay attention in the front rows? ? I went to a concert and people were sleeping.
So casinos, there's a problem in that the first generally 8 to 10 rows are a lot of high rollers. So they're not even people that are comedy fans.
Right.
They're just, hey, I'm taking some time off from the casino floor. And, this guy might be funny or this band might be good. That's why you actually have artists that have contracts that will stop that from happening. And actually Maiden did this in amphitheaters that you can't have the first 8 rows for for big ticket VIP people or whatever. It's got to be real fans. Outside of that, yes. Yeah, I find the casino crowd's a little bit different than a comedy club because, like I said, not everyone's there for comedy, but by the end of my show, hopefully they're there for comedy. It's a different crowd.
You also do a lot of voiceover too? I noticed. I saw 16. Now, don't tell me you do Jude.
No, I don't do Jude.
Okay.
On 16, I am Darth, the Star Wars nerd.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
And that was a sweet gig because that was only supposed to be a 1-episode thing.
Yeah.
And I did it, and maybe it's me. Maybe they had some kind of plans to maybe keep it going, and they loved it so much it turned into a 5-year gig.
Yeah. Nice. Good for you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, cartoons is great. It's a different world, and I don't mix them very much, like the stand-up and on that, because obviously the kind of comedy I do. But cartoons are great. It's one of the most professional businesses I've been in. There's no BS when it comes to cartoons and voiceovers. The people that are working are just good. There's very little nepotism. There's very little backhand favors. It's like it's a voice. You're either there or you're not. And that can be very refreshing coming from another side of the business where a lot of nepotism or favoritism or people that aren't funny get hired or whatever. It just, it's kind of
Harvey
refreshing.
Weinstein.
Yeah. Or, even, just for laughs, hiring the same people they always do. It's just, it's very hard to crack that nut and play the game. But in cartoons, there's very little game to play. You're either good or not. And I'm lucky that I do a few voices, and it's like a niche. It's a few. I don't do the main characters a lot of times. I do like the bully, the nerd, some kind of weird creature, and that's it. And luckily, those appear in a lot of cartoons, so I've been lucky.
Well, good for you. It's awesome.
And it pays. It pays. It's my ability. I wish stand-up comedy paid better. It's like talk to musicians. Some of the biggest bands that you love, if you knew how much they made, you'd be fucking shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's horrible how little they get paid. And stand-up comedy is the same thing. Like you cannot name a Canadian comic who only makes their money off stand-up comedy. They always have another job, writing, being in a TV show, something, because stand-up just doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah,
so for me, cartoons, I got 3 mouths to feed. I'd love to just go and tell crowds to go fuck themselves and make $30 here and $200 there and whatever, but it's just not possible. So cartoons affords me to do my stand-up.
Mm-hmm. Do you enjoy the writing process, or is that something that's like a thing you have to do?
I do enjoy it. I've kind of slacked off in the last 2 or 3 years due to probably mental health issues like everyone. But yeah, that was my chasing the dragon, getting a new 45 minutes to an hour out there that worked. This is well before, everyone went to Louis C.K. Oh, that's Louis C.K.'s model. No, it was called George Carlin's model. He did it well before that. I'm not bagging on Louis C.K., but everyone always relates that to him. But Carlin came out with a new hour every 2 years and toured it, and that's kind of where I fell at. For me, it was always Carlin and Richard Pryor. Once I broke away from those original 3, I said, and started studying comedy seriously, and that's where it was for me, writing jokes. The business of it, fine. The performing of it, fine. I it's 50-50, the performing and writing, but without the writing, I can't perform anything. So it's more important for me.
All right.
Yeah.
It's interesting to know.
Darren, you worked with Gilbert Gottfried, right?
So I've met Gilbert a few times. I did Massey Hall. Gilbert Gottfried hosted, and I kind of co-headlined close to first half of that show. April 1st, probably like 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
Oh,
and he doesn't talk like that. He doesn't off stage. He's so quiet. If you search online, there's interviews with him, and he's just, you wouldn't even know it's him.
Right.
He's very quiet. I actually interviewed him on my XM show, and it was a very cool interview. Very nice guy. But it's like some of these guys are old, and they don't have a lot of energy, and they're very timid because they're conserving energy. Right. It's like I've done a lot of movies, not a lot, but a few, and people always go, "Oh, what's it like? You did a movie with John Travolta, because I was in Hairspray. What's it like? What's John Travolta like?" And I'm like, you don't get to talk to John Travolta, not because he's an asshole, but because for 12 hours a day he was in a fat suit and he's sweating profusely, and when it's not his camera shot, he's trying to not sweat to death and use any energy. People forget that these movies are on their back. This is a big thing. They don't have time to talk to Darren Frost, the 47th guy he's met today, and have some kind of meaningful conversation. I remember once I was outside the Rivoli on a Saturday night at 2 a.m. and everyone was, getting out, and the Horseshoe had some big band. I can't remember who it was, but Dan Aykroyd came out and started walking down Queen Street towards the Rivoli, and everybody's poured out, and there's good 40 or 50 people, and everyone's like, "I love you, Dan." And, Dan's like, "Thank you, you're the greatest, man. Thank you. Ghostbusters forever. Thank you." Like literally like 30 people said something to him, and there was probably about a 50-meter gap between that crowd and me, and as he walked by, I just looked at him, he looked at me, I said nothing. Because I'm like, I don't want to be guy number 32 to tell you you're great.
Yeah.
Like I think he's great, but does he really need me to tell him he's great? Just had 35 people tell him.
Yeah. And well, it could get boring for him, or, like he could be going, shit, I don't really want to be seen today. Right.
That too. Yes.
But being Dan Aykroyd, if he doesn't want to be seen, he could probably not be seen. Like
he could not go to the Horseshoe, and
exactly right
on a Saturday night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is really good though, Darren, because you're kind of taking us into the whole mechanics of what it's like to be a comedian, right?
Right.
There's a lot of work. It's not just funny guy. A lot of commitment. Obviously, you have to bear the sort of good with the not so good. And there's a lot of moving parts, right? The audience. When you were going and you were explaining, hey, you know what if somebody doesn't want to be fucky tonight, right?
Right.
I can relate to everything that you're saying, and probably Derek as well, because we're musicians, and I mean, I would honestly hate headlining because it was late for me. I'm an older guy. I'm over 50. And I would do exactly that. Like, I would need to conserve my energy because that 1 hour show we were on stage, by the end of it, if I didn't, I'd be losing my voice. I'd just dying. Right now, I don't do drugs. I don't like, things that'll kind of keep me.
Yeah, neither do I. I've never done a single drug in my entire life.
Right. And I learned a long time ago that even, drinking beer and partying all night just doesn't work for a singer, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I can relate. There's so many parallels, and I'm like, wow, but you're really articulating the work it takes to be a great comedian.
To me, it's a great performer. It's not just comedy.
Right.
Like I've hung out with the Headstones a lot because I became friends with them years ago, and I mean I did a video for them. I'm not even sure if you guys knew that or not, but
I did.
So I've hung out with a lot of bands and stuff, and every lead singer wants to be a stand-up comedian, and every stand-up comedian wants to be a lead singer. It's the old argument, and there's all these parallels to rock and comedy, right? Like there's the Radiohead Bill Hicks connection, and there's like the Sam Kinison, the hair metal days, and all these connections to music.
Yeah.
And I think that people, like, when you see a band that's really trying, or a comedian that's very passionate, and then you see someone try to fuck with that, it's just kind of heartbreaking because you do realize the amount of time it takes. Absolutely. And this goes back to the band that I may not like. That's why I don't want to go to their show and fuck it up. It's like, if you think it's easy being in any band, whether successful or not, I've only got to worry about myself. I don't have to worry about 4 other egos. I don't have to worry about if I suck. That's the downfall. Yep. If I suck, I suck. If a band sucks, it can go, they suck, we were good, we were great, or the drummer sucked tonight, but we were great. You've got all kinds of reasons.
The drummer's always a little off, and I got you guys covered on the drugs anyways, just so you know.
Exactly. The drummer's always covered with the drugs. But, that's the thing. It's like passion is important, and there's all kinds of moving parts, and people don't realize it. And some people think I'm a little over too serious. They're like, are you even a comedian? I'm like, look, come to the show. You'll see comedy. Talk about comedy. It's not always funny. It's interesting. And I've always said, too, you may come to my show and not laugh. Love me or hate me. You're never going to forget me. Your hate makes me stronger. Those are my 2 mottos for 25 years.
And
and that's passion. That's me going, fuck you then. Here, you're going to get this. You're going to get this. You're going to get this. You're never, ever, ever. Here's a 10-minute bit about a baby getting raped to death by a dog. Yes, it happened. It was reported by the news. It's on my last album. It's funny. People have laughed. People have hated me for it. I think it's funny. I have children. Boom. Get over it.
I have a very warped sense of humor, so just that kind of. I fight. Well, like a lot of people, when things are awkward, I laugh. Right?
Of course.
Because it's like, that's hilarious. It's like, how do you keep the neighborhood children off your lawn?
Yes.
Rape
Get a
one.
dog. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Right? Yeah. See, that's one of those jokes, like you always, when I tell around people, I'm like, hey, so this is a joke, you're going to love me or you're going to hate me.
Right.
Because that's how it is.
Yeah.
But this my story is an actual news reported story. None of it was made up for comedic effect. This actually happened, was reported by the news, and people get upset. And I'm like, I'm just reporting what newspapers have reported.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about what happens.
Yeah.
And people get upset.
Heiko and I have been doing this show for, well, he's done it far longer than I have, but at least 3 years, almost 4 years now. And so we've moved around on, radio stations and stuff like that, and you've got to, like, everything's so sensitive, right?
Right.
We during COVID, we started to talk about the situation a little bit, but our listeners and viewers were like, "Hey, look, we just want to have a beer and be entertained. We don't want to hear political shit all day." So, but there are some times when, like, we're people too. So, I mean, something will just come up, and I think we called it Ringo's rant for a while, and we just go ape shit on this.
We just go off on something, right?
Go off on something, yeah. But
you can't do a weekly show. So I had a podcast for a year. We're taking a break right now. It's going to come back in a few weeks. But we also tried to avoid COVID for the most part because it's a little bit of a burnout or whatever. But you can't do a weekly show and not mention things because it's part of your own life and life experience, and you have to get it out, or it's kind of like, if you have fans, they have to expect some of that. Now, if it's, an hour of COVID every single week, then you're a conspiracy show, and that attracts a completely different fucking crowd. But, I think that you have to talk a little bit. It's the elephant in the room.
Yep.
You get it out of the way, and then you can do whatever you want. It's like when I do a certain show and they're like, you're not right for this. I talk about it right off the top. It's the elephant in the room. Let's get it out of the way and then move on.
Yep. Yeah, and we, it's just one of those things we try and, I don't know, we, kind of walk that line, I suppose. But sometimes, we just go off, and then I'm thinking, I'll never get a day job again. But
I did the Nasty Show at Just for Laughs in 2005, and they censored me on 3 jokes.
Yeah,
that's the Nasty Show. That's supposed to be the nastiest jokes in the world.
Yeah,
and 3 of my jokes were censored. They said you're not allowed to tell these jokes again, even though they got laughs.
Okay,
so I mean, the world's fucked up. Pre-COVID, there's been bullshit. No matter what way you swing your hammer, they're always going to find someone that's not going to like something. You just try to find the people that like it and concentrate on that. 5 years ago, I stopped trying to play in venues that didn't want me. You don't want me? Fuck you. I'll find another venue.
Right.
The future of all performing is doing it yourself, finding a venue, getting 50 people in a room that'll pay $20. That's $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's $1,000, right?
Well,
if you can get 100 people at $20, that's $2,000.
Yep. And you try to do it
right
every night,
sometimes a night. You get 20 people, and you don't make your nut. But you know what drives me more crazy? When I'm performing to 3,000 people and I'm making $500.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real problem. And
you should try being a musician, bud.
Oh no, I know. That's what I'm saying. I've musician friends talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, they're playing at a fish and chip festival on the East Coast, and there's 10,000 people, and they're getting peanuts just to get to the next town. I mean,
here's French fries and $100 for you guys.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
Well, in a band house, which I've stayed in many, which I don't want to even go there.
Band houses are awesome. Come on.
They're not.
Where else can you piss in a corner and not worry about it?
Yeah. The only place you're still going to find fucking scurvy on this planet.
Well, what would you say, because Ringo over here, he wants to be a comedian. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to be a comedian, start out as a comedian?
Well, it's very simple. Define why you're doing it, write that down, and always know where that sentence or that paragraph is. And every couple of years, go back to it and reread that paragraph and remind yourself why you're doing it. Because that's the answer. Everything else is bullshit. Everything else is window dressing. If you're telling me you want to do it to be famous, I'm telling you not to do it right now.
Right.
If you're telling me I want to do it because I like making people laugh, fine. Make sure you write that down. So 4 years from now, when you're bitching to me about the business or this, and this guy's got this, and this guy's that, I'll be like, get your paper out.
Yep.
Why are you doing this? To make people laugh. Did you make people laugh tonight? Yes. Then shut your fucking cake hole.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, the problem is that people lose track of why they start something. Right. Because everything else in the business draws them away from that.
Yeah. That's good.
And the art of anything is why you started doing it.
Huh.
And if you're doing it for chicks, join a band.
Get a
away from
haircut.
comedy. Maybe get a haircut. But what's the real reason? And because I've had a lot of comic friends, they're not as funny anymore, or they kind of lose it a bit, or they don't want to stay in it anymore. And I'm getting there too. I'm thinking about retiring. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but I constantly have to remind myself why I'm in this. What's the real reason I'm in this? And if that's still enough for me to keep doing it, then fine. Maybe it isn't, and maybe that's the reason you got to go. It's not for me anymore. But there a lot of bullshit in any business will drag you down and away from why you started. And, you know, it's a lonely game. It's a hard game. And if you're coming from a band background, that kind of brotherhood, not so much in comedy.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes that's what people like about being in a band.
Yeah.
I think what you said earlier, though, about like every singer wants to be a comedian, every comedian wants to be a singer, that kind of struck a chord with me because there's a couple of race cars going down the street here. But that kind of struck a chord with me because I love performing, and you know, you get those moments in between songs and you kind of, you know, whatever can kind of get the crowd going. So sometimes it's a little comedic, I suppose, and well placed, it's fine. And I remember one time going to Yuck Yucks just before they shifted from a show to karaoke, the one in, I think, Ajax.
Yeah.
And so the Yuck Yucks show was still set up, microphone was up there, but there's nobody there, right? And so you know, I'm like, so when's this karaoke thing happening? And they're like, oh, and it was just myself, a couple of friends. There was one table there. So me being the smart ass I am, I get up on stage and I grab the mic. And I don't know, I just said a couple of things, and they thought it was entertaining, but yeah, I don't have an ambition to become a comic because
the thing is that it's one thing to be, so there's a thing called living room funny. What that means is when you're in front of your friends and family, they find you hilarious. That's fine. Yeah. And there's amateur night funny, whereas people have paid $2 and they're there for half price wings and they think a couple shocking things you say is funny. That's that.
Yeah.
On a Saturday night where 200 people are paying $20 and are expecting a certain level of entertainment, that's what you're striving for. I'm not saying you're there now, but that's really what funny is.
Yeah.
And being a lead singer and saying something funny in between songs, first of all, you don't have to be that funny to be a funny lead singer.
Right.
Right? Because most people are not expecting a lead singer to be funny. They're expecting them to be endearing. Don't get me wrong. But if you're just a little bit funny, that goes way farther than the average lead singer. So already you've got a higher sense of like, hey, I'm funnier than other lead singers.
Yeah.
And so there's who's the girl from out west? Oh shit, she's huge. Good Mother. Originally from the East Coast.
Oh, Sarah? No. Oh,
she had her own show on CTV. I'm drawing a Insatiable.
Yeah. I know.
Oh man, what's her name? She's massive. She's like one of Canada's biggest singers.
Yeah.
Celine Dion?
No.
Alanis Morissette? I don't know.
No.
I'm just throwing out names just because something might trigger it.
You look it up.
Biff
and
Naked?
No. She lives in Alberta now. She's like a
country singer.
No, she's like she's like 60 years old. She's like a Canadian icon.
Oh, are you talking about Anne Murray?
No, but close.
Someone like,
oh fuck! This is gonna drive me nuts.
Not Celine Dion, not Anne Murray.
Fucking nuts. Hold on a second. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
St. Marie?
No.
Jan Arden.
Jan Arden.
Right.
So I call this the Jan Arden effect. What you're talking about.
Okay.
Jan Arden, super nice person. Don't want to dog her. Okay. But if I read one more fucking review from anyone talking about a Jan Arden concert, going, she's so funny. Someone just said Jan Arden. She's so funny. She should be a stand-up comic. She could give a couple comedians a run for her money. No, Jan Arden is performing for Jan Arden fans. right, who already like her and already expecting her to be good. And every cute little comment is hilarious to Jan Arden's fans. And so it should be.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like me going and doing karaoke and singing Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses one time and going, man, you should front fucking Guns N' Roses.
Well, actually, I just looked at the time. We should get George's backside in here. Sorry. Do you know what George's backside is, Darren?
No.
So George,
he's not going to pull his pants down.
I'm going to show my backside.
George gets one of his albums that he has, and
the
he shows us
Age
the
of
backside.
Yeah.
And we've got to guess what it is.
Yeah.
Who recorded it? Yeah.
I think I got a clue, but I'm not sure 100%.
That's the backside of the album.
That's The Last Waltz.
Oh, that's a bit too dark.
Isn't it?
No, it's not The Last Waltz.
Okay, is it Bob Seger?
No, British artist.
British artist.
Mm-hmm. It is a live concert.
I know that. Yeah.
It was recorded in New York City.
And it's not Hawkwind, right?
No. He was in a band.
Wow, and our fans didn't even come through with an answer.
Yeah.
No emails, no nothing. No
George
guesses.
Harrison?
Oh, getting warmer.
John Lennon.
Ringo.
There he is.
John Lennon, yeah.
Yeah.
John Lennon live in New York
I got
City.
it.
There you go.
Darren
Right on,
wins.
buddy.
Yeah. You beat me, Darren. Good for you, buddy.
There we go.
That's this week's backside.
Hey, wait. That's who I guessed last week.
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
Well, I said I almost was going to use a John Lennon album, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah,
And
there
then,
you go.
You know, nothing wrong with John Lennon. Let's still use him.
well, Yoko Ono was wrong with him, but that's just
Oh,
personal
she's on
opinion.
there. That's why. There's Yoko in the white.
Sitting over there. I should have guessed that.
Yeah,
I
that's
left Yoko
probably-
in there. I left Yoko in there as a clue.
Yeah.
I thought
Oh,
that
God,
was what's her name from she was Linda Ronstadt. That's who I thought that was.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, no, it definitely has a resemblance. I mean, I was thinking it was.
You're lying.
You had no idea. You had no idea.
Yeah.
He didn't.
So
He's too young.
Darren, when you're doing a show,
Mhm.
I've seen different comedians handle this totally differently because they all have their little thing. But
Right.
how do you deal, or what do you think of having hecklers in the audience?
So remember back when I said if I'm working on something, it's important that I get everything out. So when it comes to heckling, it depends where I am on that show in that night. So if I'm, working on a bit that's really important and someone heckles, I'm not going to lie, it pisses me off.
Right.
But if it's kind of a loosey-goosey moment and someone kind of yells something out, that's okay because you're not wrecking the flow of a joke. So that's a difference right there.
Yeah.
Also, the problem is unless I'm inviting heckling or it's a crowd work show and it's billed that way, think of it this way. Every single time you talk, you're getting less jokes.
Right.
Okay? So every minute that I've got to deal with fuckface over here, I'm telling one less joke.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like if I'm not working on something and you just want me to call you a bunch of idiots and say everything about your mother and all this and horrible jokes, and I've got hundreds of them, okay, I'll just be a jukebox of hate. I can do that. And that's fine. If that's what you want to pay your money for, that's fine. But the people that are there for jokes don't want that. And this is where we fall in this problem of one person thinks they run the show. And so a lot of times I'll say, how many people want him to keep talking to me? And we can vote.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it mostly guys that heckle you, or do you find it's kind of both?
Okay, so both heckle.
Okay.
Drunk guys will quit. Drunk women will never quit. They will never, ever quit. I'm sorry if that's sexist. I apologize.
Wow.
But that's my experience.
It's really
drunk women will never quit.
Wow.
Drunk guys will tap out,
Yeah.
or they'll make it physical, as in throwing a glass or doing something about it. But the thing is, you think that you're going to win a word fight with someone who A, has a microphone, and B, has a number of years of this. You're never going to say something to me that I've never heard before.
Yep.
That's where they realize, like, that's where you're going to lose. It's like, I would never go into my doctor and then tell him what to do when I'm sick. I'm going there to ask him professional opinion.
Right.
You know, but people forget that they get a couple drinks in and they hear something they don't like, and no, I'm going to say something, and then they're like, oh, ooh. So there's a clip online. It's you've put Darren Frost cancer in YouTube. It's very awkward. It's not supposed to be funny. Everyone in the comments, you're not funny, you fat fuck. You're terrible, you fat fuck. It's not supposed to be funny. The clip is important because the clip is supposed to show you that if you say shit during a show, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that I had cancer. I didn't talk about it. And then I moved on. And then a guy heckled me like 5 minutes later about my cancer, saying, because he didn't think I had cancer. He just thought I just said that for whatever effect. And he tried to stop the show. And I made it really fucking awkward.
Yeah.
To prove my point that it's my show, not your show.
Absolutely.
You don't have the right to dictate what I say. If you're paying my bill, maybe, but you're not. Every person in here is, and the manager of this club is, and the owner, not you. And it's a pretty awkward clip, and it's got, you know, a fair number of views too. It's second only to the Glass one, but you know, the comments are hilarious. People are like, "You're terrible." You know, Jimmy Carr would have handled that better. No. You know, this is put this way. I released that on purpose. Because if only 10% of the crowd understand who watches it, why it's there, then my job is done.
Yeah.
Shut your fucking mouth at a comedy show unless you're asked. Because you have no idea what's coming. You have no idea. You might be letting a cat out of the bag before the comic wants to talk about it. But it's the only form of entertainment that you heckle like this. You know, you don't go to opera and go, when's a fat lady going to sing so it's over? It just never happens.
I don't know. I've heard comments like, when are you going to play something we can dance to? You know?
Yes. Sure.
You know, it can be a packed floor, right? And it's like, hey, play something we know. You know,
everybody's dancing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of them, yeah.
But it's like I said, when I'm performing, 90%'s loving it, 1%'s not, and they're the one who's going to try to stop it. It's just the way it is.
Crazy. Yeah, it is.
Darren, we got to wrap up soon, but what's next for Darren Frost?
Well, I mean, I did my first show on Thursday, the first one since October of last year.
Wow.
So before that show on Thursday, I'd only done 5 shows since February of 2020.
Wow.
So, you know, it was 50 minutes of me doing my stuff, and it went well. It didn't go amazing, but it went well considering. And so I've got a few more shows coming up, and I don't really know what is going to happen right now. I think that if I jump on, I don't have any cartoon work right now, so I might have time to do some more shows, but I might be winding down. I'm not sure. I'm kind of at a bit of a crossroads, and I think a lot of people are in the arts on what they want to do now because of what's happening.
Right.
Shows are not going to be coming back. These numbers obviously going up. Not to talk too much COVID talk, but I just don't think things are going to be back for the winter, especially in comedy clubs. Music's a little different. You can be spaced out in bigger venues. Comedy clubs are generally smaller places, and they just can't make it happen with the numbers.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, because we're talking COVID, I have to throw in my 2 cents always on that crap. Pfizer apparently today did become FDA approved.
Right.
So now a lot of people will probably end up getting their shot because they have somebody to blame if anything happens.
I still think, I know it's monumental that happened today, but I still think a lot of Americans who were anti-vax that's not going to move their needle.
No,
and I still think that for concerts, big concerts, they're not going to happen for a while. And I think with comedy, it's even worse because laughter produces a lot of saliva and spit when you're, and especially, you know, being around people. And it's a tough game right now. And I think a lot of people, you know, you got age working against me. I'm 50. It's a young person's game. You got the hustle never changes. It's the same thing in bands. I think you may think you've got 10, 15 years in, you can slow down. You just can't. And I just don't have the energy anymore or the care. to want to have to keep struggling so hard to get 50 people in a room to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think you're right about the numbers, because we often talk about, like even bigger shows and concert venues. I mean, the capacity on a 1,000 cap venue gets dropped all of a sudden to 200 or 300. It's just not going to pay for the headphones, for instance, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like, even look at Genesis coming back. It's $400 a ticket. I mean, even without COVID, I wouldn't pay $400 for a Genesis ticket.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I like Genesis. I mean, they're good. I'd go see them. Maybe I saw Phil Collins once. But that's just outrageous, and that's the prices. Not even COVID capping prices. That's just the price they want. Now, if they're gonna have to reduce numbers because of COVID, what's that gonna shoot up to?
Right.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, Kiss just did meet and greets behind glass. I don't know if you saw that. Glass partition, and then seeing me. Just go to a fucking wax museum.
As being in a band, I love Kiss because those guys will do anything for money. It's great. I love to see that sometimes. Don't get me wrong, I play punk, and a lot of people are anti, making it, whatever. But I love to see Gene Simmons just going, yeah, man, I trademarked the money bag because nobody did. Now I make money off that.
Oh, awesome. I don't begrudge them. I begrudge their fans for paying for it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a free market economy. If people want to pay it, fine. But I'm sorry, like, that's, to me, the whole idea of paid meet and greets. I understand why bands have to do it because there's no money in records anymore. But I've never paid for a meet and greet. I will never pay for a meet and greet. I've done them before. I met Styx once. Because a friend of mine is friends with Gowan, and I've met all kinds of other bands and stuff like that, and it's always been great. But a meet and greet just in general is, other than if I was a big fan, I got something signed. I understand a meet and greet. I really do, because you got an album, you want it signed. But just to get a handshake and go, good show, as I said, the Dan Aykroyd analogy, I don't know. It's not my bag. But if people want to pay for it and the bands can get it, go nuts. But just the money it takes is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Darren, I'm definitely going to reach out and get that box set. Any of our watchers, listeners on,
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Okay.
Yeah.
Any of your listeners or anyone who watches this, the first 3 people, okay, that email the following address, peeabit, PEEABIT @hotmail.com. Yes, I still have a Hotmail account. The first 3 people who message me with the name of this show, I will send them a free box set.
Nice.
All right.
That's
ship
really
them
nice.
a free box set. 3 people, the first 3 people that send it to me, to peeabit @hotmail.com, and I'll send you one free, Ringo, and then you can send it around.
Yeah. That's fine. You know what? I would certainly pay for it. I know, it's anything in the arts, it's just, I'm a big fan of contributing. I don't know how many t-shirts I bought for, friends who have bands and everything. And I think God help me, 7 t-shirts, one for every day.
Right.
And for a while I was wearing the same t-shirt every day. But you got to support the arts. Right?
I get it. Times are tough. That's why I don't got a problem.
Buy merch. No problem. Buy merch.
And for our listeners and fans, get on that and get a free box set. And it's amazing stuff. Just, keep it away from the kids. And
that's right.
You'll be good. So, Darren, it was awesome. And taking us into that whole journey as a comedian. And it just the whole conversation exuded all of the hard work. I would never, honestly, as funny as I think I can be sometimes, I would never do the comedian's job, because then that, it would be like saying I can become a doctor all of a sudden. If it's the arts and you're trained and skilled and experienced on your craft, nobody can just walk up and do what you do. I think you did a great job articulating all of the elements and stuff like that. So thanks very much for being on the show.
Thanks, guys. Hoping nobody fell asleep. I appreciate talking.
No. Not at all.
And the other thing about this too, I heard once from a comedian, he said it's actually very hard being a comedian on tour, It's not like being in a band, because after the show's done, you've got your band members, you've got a lot of people to hang out with.
Yes.
A comedian, you're by yourself. You're in the
by
hotel
yourself.
room
Yeah,
by yourself.
And you know, sometimes you're with other comics, but for the most part, even they're just, you know, you're just doing the one show. You might not even be friends. Whereas a band, you got friends. You know, a lot of times you're in a hotel room. You're sleeping on top of the sheets because it's a bedspread that's probably got blood on it because the level of quality room you're in. You got a chair under the door to make sure that no one comes in the middle of the night. You know, you've got all these problems. And you're driving 6 hours a night to get there to be yelled at.
Yeah. So more power to you, buddy.
Dream big.
You've done a great job. It's been awesome.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Love.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for being on our show. Hopefully we'll chat with you again in the future.
All right. Next time we'll talk metal. We'll talk metal. 80s metal.
We'll talk metal, eh?
Yes.
Oh, I'm down. 80s metal?
80s metal we'll talk.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to get the box set too, because I only have a DVD from back when, so I'd like to get some of the other material. So all you fans, go out there, get Darren's box set. The information's on the bottom of the screen. If you miss it, contact the Heikadelic Show. And I also want to thank the fans that were part of the show tonight, which is Bradley, Keisha, Antonio, Junior, Sarah, Kathy, and Richard. Thanks again, folks. And we'll see you all again next Monday night at 9:30 here on the Heikadelic Show.
Well, that's another wrap for the Heikadelic Show, folks, so time to get dirty. And don't forget, listen in next week on Monday night and every Monday after that for the Heikadelic Show at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like more information on the Heikadelic Show, please find us at www.theheikedelicshow.com or .ca. We'll see you all next week on the Heikadelic Show. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor for the Heikadelic Show, it's easy. Just send us an email at info@theheikedelicshow.com. Meanwhile, you can browse our website at www.theheikedelicshow.com or .ca. Click on our sponsor tab and find out more information on sponsorships. Thanks for joining the Heikadelic Show, fans.